because of the January 6th commission and the findings, we now know that yes, Trump was trying to help all those people out. So yes, you've heard some of the Jan 6ers be like, Trump left us, he abandoned us. He was kind of looking out for you because he did inquire as to whether or not he could issue blanket pardons. So this is from those transcripts. John McEntee, Mr. Trump's director of personnel, recalled in an interview how during his final days in office, the former president had floated the idea of a blanket pardon for the breach of the Capitol. But Pat Cipollone, the White House counsel, had rejected it. So Cipollone said no. One day we walked into the Oval. I believe this is, John McEntee. One day we walked into the Oval. I remember it was being discussed, and I remember the president saying, well, what if I pardoned the people that weren't violent and just walked into the building? And I think the White House counsel gave him some pushback. What if I pardoned the looters who didn't take anything? They just wanted to walk through the broken glass and see what it felt like. Like, can you imagine this being extended to anybody else? Just like, what if I pardoned the accessories to murder, but not the actual murder? Like, no. Well, it's just
I was gonna say, Francesca, you're forgetting that famous moment during Donald Trump's presidency during the Black Lives Matter protests when he said, when the looting starts, the pardon starts.
Yes, I did forget. Yeah, totally.
He totally said that. We covered that. We were like, okay, anarcho Donald Trump. That definitely happened. Yeah, he was gonna pardon all the people who, listen, if you do some light looting, who among us hasn't, just been at the scene of a looting and just been like, yo, mind your business. Like I think we need to protect the innocent bystanders of this country.
Look,
so yeah, that's what Donald Trump's all about. Of course, he didn't say looting starts, shooting starts.
If a Walgreens is being looted, and a Venus razor happens to pop at my feet, I will pick it up. They're expensive. I might put it in my pocket. Okay, but that's not
otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Where's it gonna go? But it is interesting, right? So again, we are learning the limitations on all the people around him who somehow had, and I mean, surprisingly, actually had more wherewithal and had more fear of like reprisal and punishment to tell him. And these counsel, like other than Rudy Giuliani, actual lawyers who were like, no, you can't do this. You can't do that. This is continuing on. The committee referred repeatedly to pardon requests, but it singled out those from members of Congress who had attended December 21st, 2020 White House meeting, in which a plan to overturn the election had been discussed as revealing their own clear consciousness of guilt. Ooh, who were those people? Cassidy Hutchinson? Please tell us. Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson told the panel that both Mr. Gates and Representative Mo Brooks, of Alabama, had pressed for a blanket pardon for members involved in that meeting and a handful of other members that weren't at the December 21st meeting as the preemptive pardons. Mo Brooks was voted out, which I think is so delicious. He turned on the MAGA base and he didn't really turn on them. He was like, maybe we should look to the future. And they were like, we hate the future. We want the fictitious past. But Matt Gaetz is still somehow in office, as are others who were at that meeting. If there's not a smoking, I don't know how many smoking guns do we need around this, right? Like Nixon is in his grave going, just like, he's so mad.
Yo, really gave it to me. Wow, it's all right there. Just come on.
I can only do Richard Nixon in Black Dynamite, which is the best depiction of Richard Nixon as a kung fu fighter. But it all goes back to, let's not like, I think you did get a little bit of optimism out of me earlier when I was like, okay, there are some incentives to not do an insurrection again, because let's say you have someone like a Trump or a Trump like trying to call for that kind of thing. All the people who are going up to the Capitol, like finding out their flights, are going, the FBI was able to track their flight information last time they did this. And they were able to use it against them in court. And they would charge a lot of the people who showed up there, and they found pictures of them on the internet and they lost their jobs. So there is some disincentive from that. And look, it's Daddy Donald not merciful. He looked into doing a couple of pardons here or there. But like at the end of the day, we have a legal system that uses the law itself, like what's written down and what's been supposedly agreed upon, as a fallback for what people really want in power, which is to sustain their own power. And so if they can find some other way to be like, okay, let's run this calculus of we have these people who might threaten the very society we live in, but they might get us votes. Let's weigh that in to how we do our enforcement, which is sort of like a sad state of affairs in our society.
Absolutely. And the reason we're even on the other side of this talking about it and not banned from YouTube and tech platforms and are under like an authoritarian rule right now is because January 6th was unsuccessful, but not by a lot. And so the difference is that if it were successful, none of this would have happened. So yeah, some folks might be thinking who were part of the insurrection, man, I don't know, I won't be able to get a job anymore, and I shouldn't do no more insurrecting. But some of them are probably thinking, all we needed was a few more weirdos in piano key scarves, like all we needed was a few more Ashley Babbitts or whatever it was. Like all we needed was more people who were willing, or maybe we should have started shooting, right? Like that is also the lesson, because it's like, oh, we almost did it. And if they had done it, you think anyone would have seen any kind of ramification, prosecution? No.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.